just for fun. And I'm going to start a new project with Iris. Iris.
Hi, I'm Iris. I am studying to be a UX designer. So I've been helping Rob design his projects and work on like the product. So yes, today we are going through the planning phase.
Yeah, so this new project is going to be pretty cool. I haven't seen anything like it out in the internet. So we're going to talk through some of the goals, objectives, what it's supposed, like what we're trying to accomplish, who's it for, and the MVP features. So like the minimum viable product that will get the game out there and people start using it, testing it, and let us know what they want to see more or less of.
Yeah. So we kind of did some pre-planning and determine the problem statement for our product, which is to help aspiring software engineers who are intimidated by the mental and financial challenges of entering the field learn the fundamentals of code through an accessible and entertaining game. So now we are going to, I guess, brainstorm features for the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then prioritize what our next steps are, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how it came to me was I think like I learned to code through a coding boot camp, and it got me the job. Like it got me into the industry, and I'm very happy for it. But it's also not for everyone. It's very like time intensive. It was 3 months full time, and also the job search itself was a couple more months full time. And it was a heavy price point too, like in the tens of thousands. So I figured there's got to be like another way to go about it. And there are definitely online videos like Udemy and stuff, and it's $10 to $200, which is still very affordable compared to tens of thousands. But the problem with those is like almost everyone who starts it never finishes it because it's a video and it's dry, and at some point you just move on. For many, not everyone. I know for a fact some people have gotten into the industry just off of Udemy courses, and I myself, I like to learn new things off of Udemy, and it works well for me too. But I know a lot of my friends, it doesn't work for them. So I started thinking, and I was working on a game previously, just like my previous project, and that was just straight up a game, and it wasn't intended to teach anything. But as I was developing that, I started like piecing these two thoughts together and realize, hey, I can make something that can teach people code, but also be fun. So now now we're going to try to come up with a way for the two to mesh well, because that's a pretty challenging thing to do. Yeah. Learning by its nature is boring. And yeah.
Yeah, I think also one of the other things that you've mentioned before is just accountability. Getting people to, actually want to continue learning, like, and interact with it, practice it, this is a type of skill that you really need to like do hands-on practice work. You can't just kind of watch a video and learn. So this game is something that would be able to help that too. And it's more of like a hands-on way to learn for people who learn better that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So the way I'm imagining right now, just like a very general idea, is I'm going to recreate the code editor, which is this thing, and like let me open a folder so we could see what I'm talking about. So VS Code, this software is the most popular code editor right now on the market. It's free, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to emulate it so that it's so that it's in the browser, and then this will be like the left-hand side of the game, and then on the right-hand side, you're gonna type some code and whatnot, and then it'll do some stuff in the game, which is I'm thinking it'll be a war game, like a real-time strategy game. So like, let's say you want to build a base in a generic war game, it would just be a timer. It'll be maybe like 20 seconds and your building will complete. But I'm thinking instead of that, it would be dependent on how fast you could type the code, which will be pre-written. It'll just be like grayed out, and then you type it out, and then it won't take long. It'll maybe take about also 20 seconds, but it's just that like repeated process of you like typing the same code, and also an explanation tied to why are you typing this code, eventually I feel like that muscle memory will kick in, and as you type different code that does different things and different explanations, I think it might be able to teach someone how to code. This is all hypothetical. We'll have to really put it out there to test it, but I'm excited for it because what coding is, a lot of it is muscle memory. It's doing something repeatedly so many times. Like for example, this page, I've seen this so many times. I basically memorized this whole page because every time I generate a new app, it's the same code. So I'm figuring like this could apply to anyone. Like if you play enough games, like let's say it's gonna be a multiplayer game too. So like as you play, you're gonna build your own team, and you guys are gonna want to like play together or against each other or whatnot. So it's gonna be a lot of I guess just repetition, and I think that's really good for learning. But the problem is when you do it outside of a gaming environment and you're just doing it repeatedly just to do it, that's boring.
Right.
So I also don't want to like have too much learning involved. Like there's a problem of finding a balance between the gameplay and the learning. So for maybe like building a building, I want people to type code, but maybe moving a unit, I don't want them to. Maybe just click something and it'll go there to keep it simple.
Right. So there's a balance in like not every tiny step has to require you to like type some like long paragraph of code.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you want to talk to them about kind of like your inspiration behind like why a war game?
Okay. So,
or like why you thought like a strategy game would be fun? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's just personally, I really like strategy games to a point where when I start one, I can't stop, and Iris banned me from playing them because I just spend all day gaming, and it's like very bad. Like I don't even eat. But then I figured like that kind of addiction could be used for good. If there's anyone else out there who's just as into strategy games, I feel like this would be a perfect marriage between the two. The other thing is it just made sense in terms of teaching code because like I said, like building a unit, you would type some code, and that actually very much matches how developing an app works because there's a back end and a front end. So like the way I would compare it to is like the back end is the buildings, and then the front end is like the units. So like you can't create troops if you don't have a barracks. Just like in code, you can't make a front, like you can't make a request to a database or a network that doesn't exist, right? So you have to start building the back end to support the front end feature. And that's why I like using this war game as like an analogy to coding as well as the actual typing of the coding.
Yeah, and I guess like, you know, even in like software engineering, like coding, there's a lot of strategy involved, right? There's a lot of problem solving. So that also is kind of like you're practicing that muscle in this game.
Yeah, and as a lot of developers that I know do like strategy games, so I just feel like it's a good mix. But again, this is all hypothetical, so we really have to really try it first,
right?
And get feedback from you. So what do we talk about goal audience or discuss more about audience?
Well, audience, I think, is really aspiring software engineers, people who could really encompass anyone from like students, you know, young students to like people making career changes to maybe a hobbyist. Yeah, like pretty much anyone who's looking to learn how to code. Especially those who I think maybe are intimidated or like have like a mental block there, you know, people who think like, oh, software engineering coding, it's too hard for me, or like I'm not smart enough. It's not true. Like really anyone can learn how to code. And I think this game is really targeted towards those people because, you know, it's breaking it down to the most simple fundamentals, and it's making it so accessible, you know, in an environment that like most people I think are familiar with, it like in terms of playing games. So yeah, I think that is our audience right now. We would obviously work to narrow it down through like, interviews, user tests, kind of like better understand the market and as we go along. But in terms of like a starting point, I think that's a good starting point.
Yeah. I mean, drawing inspiration from my own experience. I wanted to learn how to code maybe like 2 years before I actually went all in and
Yeah.
went to a coding bootcamp. Just because I was like, I was always like, there's this other thing that I have to do now, and I always like push it back. But reality was, I was afraid. I was intimidated. I was like, I don't know where to begin. I don't know if it's right for me. It's a big risk, and it held me back. So
Yeah.
instead of like, and also look at the price, it was like 15 grand. And I was like, I don't have 15 grand. So then that all set me back 2 years. But I think having this as an option and introducing, even if you're not like fully sure you want to go into coding, it's a way to like let you know. It's like,
Yeah.
do I want to do this for real, or maybe it's just a hobby, you know? And it's making it accessible is the most important thing.
Yeah, actually, can I tell the story of like how like originally with Hyperfunded, how you weren't coding? Yeah, so originally, actually, you studied technology management or something?
Project management in tech.
Yeah, project management in tech in college. And originally, you were going to study like computer science or something, right? But like you didn't do that well in like your classes in terms of your intro to coding. Like you didn't
see, and I was like, all right, I'm an idiot. This is not for me.
Right, because you immediately just went, okay, well, I'm not, good enough or smart enough to learn this. And then, but I knew that he like would really enjoy it because we actually, at the very first project that we built together, he didn't know how to code, and we were building the website through WordPress. And he was just obsessively working on WordPress every single day on the product, even though we had like other things that really we should be focusing on in terms of business. Like his default was to just work on features. And
we have no users. It means I need a feature.
And that was that's when I was like, look, you really should just learn how to code because you're messing around with plugins and you're like still going into the HTML, CSS, like whatever the code was in there. You were still trying to mess around with the code in the plugins to like make it work. And I'm like, it would have just been so much easier if you just tried to learn how to code. And you were like, nah, I can't. Like I'm not, I'm not like smart enough or whatever, or I'm not gonna like it because you didn't do well in that one class in college. And it turns out it was just the way it was being taught. Like it just wasn't the right environment for you to learn. And when you went to boot camp, you flew through that boot camp.
I think the difference was in college it's more conceptual and they give you written tests, and that doesn't work for everyone. It didn't work for me. I was interested in code, but I wasn't interested in lectures. But that doesn't work in the college environment. So I did poorly. But then when I went to coding bootcamp, it was very different. It was about building apps, building features, like making the actual thing less conceptual, but more what's the word I'm looking for? Practical. Yeah. So that was like a perfect match for me because all I wanted to do was like see results immediately, back to back. And I feel like with this game, it's going to be more like that. Because then with the things you learn, you could actually start building your own app. And I'm going to actually, I'm going to create what do you call those? Like in-game goals that will push you towards building your own app. Because then the goal of this game is not for you to be the best player, but rather to for you to actually learn code. So of course the mini goals should reflect that. So that's a vague idea that I'm still figuring out, but we'll talk about that later on.
Well, I guess like that you can use I guess building like certain bases or like building the overall like map of your base, right? That could be like, I guess, equivalent of like building your app. I'm thinking like how in Catan, you get points every time you build something and then level them up, right? So that could be part of your like, I guess, smaller goals is like your building the small pieces that then make up the bigger app, which is, I guess, the base.
I mean, I see what you're saying, but then the problem is it's going to be like pre-written code that I wrote, because then they're just copying what I'm writing, really.
So they can't. Is there a way for them to customize that though?
I mean, sure, but then it also should reflect you're building a barracks, so it should reflect you're building a barracks.
Yeah.
So like,
but I mean, where you place it and where you choose, like how you, I don't know, choose to upgrade that barracks or something.
I'm not sure I'm following.
So like, from what I understand of the game, like you get to choose, like if you're building a barracks, you get to choose where you put the barracks on the map, right?
Okay.
So isn't that customizable? Like they get to design their own base.
Yeah, you design
and
your
how
base.
like where they put it is part of the strategy. So I'm saying like each feature is just a makeup of the overall base, which is like, in analogy wise, the app.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, oh, okay. We're thinking about two completely different things. I thought you meant like replacing the hard-coded code that I wrote with like a different app's code.
No.
Okay.
So like your code, you would give them multiple options, I guess, in code. In like, I don't know if through code you can decide on like where you're putting the things.
It would be using your cursor where you drop it off.
Okay, so it's not like
No.
through typing the code.
No.
So, but so like you would have a set of code for like the barracks and a set of code for like medics and like a set of code for like, I don't know, tanks. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, and then with that you would then it would move on less to the coding, but like you could use your cursor to then place those things that you've built.
Yes.
Okay. And so in terms of like, how do you win this game? Like maybe
destroy the other team's base.
So I think you need to explain like what kind of game really, like the concept of the game. So like there's, I guess, a map, and then I guess there's multiple companies.
Yes.
And then each company is trying to invade the map, I guess, take over majority of the map.
So like you collect resources, build troops, and attack.
Okay.
And defend your base at the same time.
Okay. And then, so the main goal is take over majority of the map, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we should write down in terms of like what features like you need to for the player to then be able to reach that goal.
Okay. First, let's, I guess, we need to establish like what are the things you can build, what are the resources you can collect, how much resources per thing for the thing that you want to build. Yeah, we need to like think through that.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. So let's say resources.
Okay.
I'm thinking wood and steel. That's just obvious choices.
So these are things that they're collecting to then build.
Yeah. Wood and wood and
ore. Yeah.
iron.
Like different metal ores.
Yeah. I think
like-
just one metal MVP. And then
But like, what is this, like a modern military base, or
no, I'm thinking it's gonna be like so zombies attack style. So it's gonna be like, I don't know, it's not real.
so more like medieval?
Yeah, medieval would be a nice fit.
So it's not like there's no tanks and like
You could make
helicopters
we
and
can
stuff.
make it up if you want. It's
Okay.
totally our imagination.
So okay.
But for starters, let's just like start simple. Barracks. It's gonna create regular troops. What are regular troops? Maybe we need to talk about that. Create troops.
Well, I mean, you don't need to like name all of them. You could just
Kind
generally. Well, let's first put down the general, like what they are, and then we can like name them.
Okay.
Well, you need like medics, so like a hospital or something.
Hospital.
I don't know what the
Sure.
what do you call it in the military? It's not a hospital.
I don't remember.
You were in the military.
I wasn't a medic.
Okay.
Field troops.
No, you would put medic.
What does hospital dash medic doesn't mean anything?
You know what a medic
Sure,
is.
but
You're creating
so
medics. You're not creating. You're not.
Oh, are you talking about creating then?
Yeah.
Okay. Create.
What does heal troops mean?
I thought it was like a building where you send your troops. Maybe it could do both.
No, the medics come to you on the field,
Alright,
don't they?
fine.
You've
But
been
it
in war. How am I telling you how it works?
I mean, like, you can also go to the hospital.
Right, but don't the medics come get you?
Sure. Where do you think they bring you?
Well, okay, but where does the medics come from?
Create medics and heal troops. Good enough.
What else? Like
Probably
a
vehicles.
fort?
Oh, like defensive towers? I guess.
Yeah.
Towers. Fences, stuff like that.
Fences.
Towers.
Who's being held back by a fence?
There are
Okay.
fences,
No, that's so lame. We don't need a fence.
but you kind of, they're useful.
You could do like cool things like ditches. I don't know. What are those called? You know when you dig like those?
Trenches?
Yes, trenches.
That's not a tower, though. That would be like...
You have towers.
No, I'm saying like that was not a building structure. We're doing building structure right now.
A ditch is a building structure. You have
No,
to dig it.
that's like a true
You were-
ability would be to dig a trench.
Oh, what about the people who make engineers?
That could come out of barracks.
Okay. So then you have
I guess
two
we
different
could
types of
specify.
troop.
troops.
You have the ones that
engineer.
are
No, I feel like we need a headquarters. That's where every game begins. Headquarters. That's where the engineer should be.
Oh,
Create engineers.
I think medical supplies. No, I don't know. I'm thinking about resources. Like, what other resources are there? Potions.
Potions? Maybe.
Like medical supplies. You could just put it in resources.
Wait, what? Did you look for?
Yeah, you just pick it up.
What? What are you picking up?
You said I could make anything up.
All right, fine. Maybe like different things where you have a building that is the place that you make potions might be more interesting. So like we'll just make other resources, herbs. What makes potions?
Herbs.
Different
Plants.
herbs.
Different herbs. I don't know.
What do you call a place that makes potions? Cauldron?
No. An apothecary?
How do you spell that?
Well, that's where you get the potions. I don't know. Do they make potions there?
If you get it from there, I'm guessing you also make it there. Or else, how do you get it from there?
But I feel like
No?
okay, fine.
How do you spell that?
APOTHE. Apothecary.
Grammarly's happy? Okay.
No, there's no double R. I don't even think
Grammarly's
that's.
not happy. There.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, it creates potions.
Creates medicine.
What? Then what's the point of the hospital?
Well, the hospitals. Oh.
Potions.
But the potions are used in the hospital, right?
But the potions could be used for attacking too, maybe. Maybe it's like a potion that like makes your troops stronger or runs faster. I don't know.
Fine. Okay. Now we need. What if there were like cool animals that you could like collect and then use them to help you fight?
Animal farms.
No. Like wild animals, and then you
No,
collect
that's not
them,
a building. We're
and
talking
then
about buildings. We talk about other stuff in a different category.
I think we're done with buildings. I mean, what else do you need? You got towers. You got. That's it.
Okay, we need to get more specific with like troops. What kind of
The
troops?
fighting kind.
What?
I don't know what they're called.
But
The
like close
fighting
range,
kinds.
long range, like a bow, arrow, what?
Oh.
Sword, axe. I don't know.
Just whatever.
That's like the core.
Oh, I don't know.
I guess archers make sense.
Okay, so archers, knights, they fight with like swords. Mounted knights. One's on horseback, so they're faster. Ninjas.
Maybe a different building for
What do you call like spies? Ooh, mages. They're the ones that
Mages.
can use potions.
Oh, that should come out of this one.
Wait, why doesn't that? No, it doesn't.
Why?
Apothecaries aren't mages.
Oh, I don't know. But they're making potions. It
Mm,
would make sense if they also trained magicians. I mean, it doesn't make sense that they come out of barracks.
I don't know. I feel like apothecary maybe is the wrong thing then,
Maybe.
because apothecary is just like a store where you buy herbs and stuff and like
Maybe
potions.
Hogwarts.
No, you can't name it that. Please don't sue us, J.K. Rowling.
Great. Mages.
Maybe it'll just be.
Magic Hall for now until you come up with a name. Towers. This is like basic, I guess.
What is towers? Towers is just a defense,
Watchtowers.
right?
Defensive towers. Attacks within range.
Oh, what if you had dragons?
Oh, dragons.
They could be kind of like tanks, you know? They could be used like tanks.
Yeah, I guess. Create dragons. But what's it called?
No, you
Nursery?
won't. No, you won't create them.
Oh, no.
You have to.
capture them?
Yeah, you have to capture them and then
Capture
train them.
Animals. Oh, that sounds cool. Capture animals. Befriend.
Befriend
control?
animals. Befriend animals. Befriend the dragons.
What do you call that?
No, yeah, just befriend. No, just befriend. That's nice. I don't think anybody. I feel like people who are into like war are just like befriend dragons.
Or
What?
not?
I don't know, but it's kind of cute. It's more PG.
PG, yeah.
Befriend
Dragons.
dragons.
What else? Alligators.
Elephants.
Elephants.
They're slow, but they're like. I keep thinking like in Avatar: The Last Airbender, you know the lizard thingy that's like really fast and it could track you.
I don't remember.
Oh. I feel like dragons and elephants are kind of in the same category.
Dragons can fly. Elephants can't.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. What did you say earlier?
What did I say?
I don't know. You said something else. Well,
Alligator.
alligators? Oh, maybe not.
No.
This doesn't seem as big and dangerous.
Giant alligator.
Isn't that just a dragon?
Oh, yeah.
It's just a big lizard.
Snake. A giant snake.
What is its special abilities?
We have to think about it. I think it's time to expand into what does each unit do after this. And we'll come back to it. We don't even know what they do. So let's come back here. What are engineers capable of?
Building other buildings. And
I can't do subtask. I
do
guess not.
engineers do they make the weapons?
That's like blacksmiths.
Wasn't
Dude, is that too
like-
nitty gritty? I feel
I
like
feel
yeah.
like yeah.
What's other buildings? Build trenches.
And weapons.
What do you mean? Why?
Like swords and bows and arrows and
Shouldn't you just build the troop and it'll come with it? You have to make it separately. That's so annoying.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I don't know, like those. What do you call those?
Oh, bear traps.
What's with a bear trap?
The theme is bears.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
That wasn't clear. We're having bears befriend other animals
Yeah.
and then
that makes sense.
ride them?
Yeah.
Wait, we're gonna continue on the bear theme?
Yeah.
I don't
I think
know.
it'll be nice.
I don't
Build a
know.
whole realm. Like you can have like a storyline in different games. Like there was the infection, and then this game is post-infection, and they're at war. And then maybe the third game could be like a prequel before they were zombies. I don't know, but it'll be interesting. You could like write out a whole universe in game.
But like the games are so not tied together
Well,
in
you
terms
just
of
tie
like,
the
the type
story
of
together.
game.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
What are those things called where you like fling balls of fire?
Oh, catapults.
Yes.
Oh, we should have cannons too.
Yes. Wait, no, that's kind of like just cannons are kind of like dragons.
But I mean, in terms of defensive towers.
Yeah, but I think defensive towers should just have the catapult.
That's an offensive tower. That's not a defensive tower.
Okay, but the thing is, cannons doesn't match. There weren't cannons back in the medieval times.
It doesn't have to be medieval. It's just whatever we want.
But then the cannon is doing the same thing as the dragon, which is blowing fire at the enemy.
Oh, alright, fine. Whatever. So catapult could go under.
But then catapult is also just
I think we
blowing
need a
fire
new
at the enemy.
building
What? We don't need more buildings.
for catapult.
You don't. I'm saying like, do we need catapult because it's also blowing fire at the enemy?
I feel like these should be hard to acquire, whereas you could build something that's like less destructive.
I see. Okay.
So we need a new building
Wait, why?
because catapult doesn't fall under any of these.
Why doesn't it just come out of headquarters?
Headquarters should not be.
That's where weapons come from, no?
I don't think so. Headquarters is like where your officers plan.
Why are there bear traps?
That's for engineers. This is not clear. Let me just make it separate. Can we have more space? Let's just make a new column. Troops. Buildings. Why is it not moving? That doesn't work. Okay. Does this work? Alright. Troops. Oh my goodness.
Maybe.
Whatever. Defensive tower. What do you need a name for that?
The Dark Tower.
Maybe. Oh wait, that's resources. New column for this.
We do not need a whole column for resources.
No, I'm making others, so like miscellaneous stuff. All right. So we want engineers to do that. We want catapults, but catapults doesn't fit into any of these.
I'm saying we shouldn't have catapults.
Oh, we shouldn't. All right, I think this is enough for MVP. We just need to define like what's the difference between these units? What's the difference between an archer, a knight, and a mounted knight?
Well, an archer, long range.
Less damage. And knight.
Why is it less damage?
Otherwise, that's just not fair. Why would you build a knight if it has less range and is less strong? It's gotta be a trade-off. I guess mounted knight is just faster knight.
Yes, and it has maybe more HP because you gotta kill its horse too.
Okay. So it gotta cost more.
Yes.
We'll get into cost later. That's kind of too specific for now.
Okay.
Medics. Medics. Do they heal the troop on the spot or do they bring them back to the hospital?
How complicated do you want this to get?
That's true. There's also I have to develop these features. Let's heal them on the spot.
Okay.
But then if someone walks into the hospital, they could also heal. Or maybe like walks near the hospital, they also can heal.
What's the point of the hospital again?
Create medics.
Okay. I guess. I don't know.
Okay. Potions. What are these potions?
Those are the mages. The mages can use.
Mages can use potions.
Yes.
Potions include.
Do we have to name the potions right now?
I mean, what do they do?
Heal the troops by a certain percentage.
Heal all the troops? That's a lot.
Maybe you can pick the unit that it heals.
Okay, let's say fully heal. Fully heal a unit. A unit is a single troop.
Oh, it's not like a little cluster of troops?
I mean, how do you determine what is the unit?
You make them in units,
Sure, but
in
like,
groups.
what's the limit to a group?
Like, you have to make, I don't know,
Maybe
how
let's
many
say-
people are in a group in the army?
I mean, we can make it up. What makes sense? We should put it like that. Maybe like,
3?
I was thinking 5. That's
Oh,
a big difference.
okay.
Maybe you mean the middle,
5?
4?
No, we could do 5.
Because we gotta think about what we have. There's a knight, there's a close range, a long range. Well, engineers.
Oh, so maybe it should depend on what. Like, if you're making a group of knights, then it would be like 5. They're just less stuff to make. Like, it's easier to make them. Like, if you were to make a mountain knight, maybe you only get like 3. And like, if you want to make a medic, maybe you only get like 2. So they like get produced in groups.
I'm thinking unit would be a mix of different things, not the same thing.
Why?
Otherwise, it's kind of,
But they travel separately.
oh, that's strategy. I feel like you have the option of making unit all the same or a mix of different things. That's part of the strategy.
I see.
So it should just be a fixed number. I'm thinking maybe 4 might make sense.
Why 4?
Because then we have medic, a close range, a long range, and a mage. So that's 4 different things. So if you wanted a mix, you can. If you want it all the same, then the number doesn't really matter. And engineers shouldn't be going out. So it's really just between these guys.
Why aren't engineers going out? They have to go out to build things.
That's true. But then that could just be a part of the second unit. You definitely don't want to mix your engineer with the fighting troops, because then they're just gonna die. So like that would be maybe a separate unit of only engineers.
I
So
don't
4
know.
makes
For some
sense.
reason, I don't like the even number.
So 5.
Well, I said okay to 5, but you were like, no.
Well, this is all up for discussion.
Okay, well, I think 5.
5 troops to a unit. What else? We could do like powers them up for a fixed amount of time.
What do you mean? Like they're just
More
can-
damage.
okay?
30 seconds, a minute.
30 seconds.
Move faster for 30 seconds.
Uno teleport.
Teleport. How's that work?
Like you could teleport a unit from one spot to the other.
Anywhere in the map?
Uh-huh.
That's kind of too crazy.
But that'll be cool.
But then that...
You still have to do that strategically. You can't just like teleport into the middle of the enemy base and get destroyed.
But why would anyone travel? They would just build these potions. It's gotta like be balanced. Maybe you could teleport up to a limited range. I don't think it should be
Okay.
anywhere in the map.
Okay, fine. A limited range.
Teleport maybe like a third of the map. Maximum distance.
Wow, do we have to like scale the map?
Yes.
Oh, this is so complicated.
Yes, it is.
Is there a way to make that less complicated?
Well, I'm thinking it'll be in a grid, so it's just going to be whatever the width or the height divided by 3. It's not going to be that bad, I think.
Okay. Is a third a little big?
Quarter? And that's
don't
not
know.
very useful. Just walk it.
Fine. I don't know how big this map is, because like if it's a really big map and a third of the map is still really
I
far.
don't know. We could change that number, dependent on feedback. So what else do we want?
Maybe the mages are the only ones who can befriend animals.
Okay. Oh, there are animals.
So really, I mean, obviously mages are going to be the most powerful.
They should be expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, we need food as a resource. Duh.
Food and water.
Food, water.
Shelter?
Nah. That's what I guess these buildings are.
Okay. I think this is pretty good. Should we talk about what the animals do?
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
So a dragon is pretty much the equivalent of like,
It can't be OP though.
I mean, it's pretty OP. A dragon? Have you watched Game of Thrones?
But then that's not fun. Whoever gets the dragon wins.
Right, but it's really fucking hard to get the dragon. Maybe you have to like, one of the resources is like an egg, and then it takes like crazy amount of time for it to then hatch. And the mage has to like, I don't know, like be at a certain level before it can like tame the dragon and for the dragon to grow.
So both sides have an egg?
You have to find it.
Oh, all right, so
On
we
the
have
map.
a problem. So like, let's say someone finds both the elephant and the dragon egg. They win by default.
You can kill them.
But it sounds like they're very hard to kill.
So then we need to have like special weapons that can specifically kill dragons.
Then that makes them useless.
No, because it's also very hard to build those weapons.
All right, we'll go with it. So what? Oh wait, what's going on? I want to become famous? No, I do not. No idea what design context this is, but I'm thinking it. Cool. I'm glad you do. Yeah. Well, so backstory. We're starting a new project, and it's gonna be a real-time strategy game set in like a medieval-ish kind of realm, and the core of it is also going to be teaching people how to code. So there's going to be a mix of educational and like typical strategy game going on.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to figure out like what is a good balance between the two so that people can have fun, but at the same time still learn code.
Yeah. So right now we're thinking of like features in the game, and then like each feature, in order to build like, I don't know, a defense tower or something, you have to like write out the code.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're thinking right now only the building structures will require coding. Everything else would be click and like simple.
Really? I
think
feel
so.
like you would have to do some work to get those to get your troops.
No, because then in a generic like war game, you're going to be making a lot of troops. I feel like that would be interruptive.
But that's like, how fast can you type? Isn't that?
But also, you need to be like, you got to move your troops and be in the battle. You can't possibly be typing while still doing that. So then that's why I feel like it might be too much if we do it per troop, but it will work if it's per building. But maybe for upgrades, like if you want to.
I'm a little worried that like, because you only have to build a building once, really.
Yeah.
So that's not that much coding.
Well, that's why I'm thinking upgrades. If you want to upgrade a troop, you have to do code. But if you like stall on your upgrade, it doesn't disrupt you from the game.
I mean,
so like, let's say you want to upgrade your knight to a mounted knight, then you have to do code on the side.
Okay.
But then like, let's say now your unit's under attack or your base is under attack, and it's like, oh shit, that's more important. Then you're gonna stop the code, and then your upgrading will basically stop too. But that's fine because it's not the end of the world.
Okay, I see what you mean. Okay. So something like, well, okay, here's my question. So like, there's different types, right? So there's like, if you're creating a unit and you want knights but also want mounted knights, like while you're creating this unit, does that mean like you're going to be coding in order to create the unit?
No. So that's just going to be a click. So you finished building your barrack via code. You now have the structure. You place the structure somewhere on the map. Now there's an icon you could click to create the troop. But then on the troop, like if you select a troop, there will be an option to upgrade it to a mounted knight. That will require code.
So when you're first creating that unit, you don't have the option of creating a mounted knight.
I'm thinking no.
Okay. So then,
I mean we could discuss.
No. I think I agree with that. I'm trying to think which ones of these troops are you able to create just with a click of a button, and which ones are.
Oh, I should like differentiate, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like for example, I don't think a mage should be that easy to make.
Okay. Upgrade of. Require upgrading from. Oh, my keyboard. Wait. Coding. Code to upgrade. Type code to upgrade. Okay. So the mage, I think that should. That should just require a lot of resources, but not necessarily typing. But maybe like to use the thing, it'll require typing. That would make sense to me. So like if you want to use a potion, you gotta type it. And I don't imagine it's actually that many lines of code in terms of real code.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's maybe like 3 lines.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's write that down. Can use potions. Have to type code to use potions. Medics. Do we need to talk more about medics? No, or no?
So like the base people are medics, knights, and archers.
Yeah.
And engineers.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I feel like maybe the animals should be stretch goal.
Really? I feel like that's going to be like the thing that sets it apart.
I mean, the thing that sets it apart is the coding.
Oh, well, I mean, in terms of gameplay, like, that's going to give it more of like that fantasy element.
But we're talking about MVP. I mean, like MVP doesn't have to stand out; it just have to work, and then you can do your fancy stretch goal features after.
I think the thing is you want to make the game exciting as well. It's kind of like how with Zombies we had them be able to like revive and possibly turn into a zombie. So that was like the one key thing that made the game different from other games that are similar to it.
Having dragons and elephants is not new. There's other games like they don't get elephants and dragons, but they have this like special thing. Like the game that I was playing, they had like what was it, a tiger tank? It was like a very OP tank, and it's just like
right, but we don't have that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like it doesn't set you apart though.
Okay.
So not having.
So then it's if anything that means we have less things than other games that are potentially similar.
This is MVP.
But then you still want to make it exciting. Like you need to have some things that still keep it fun. Like because at the end of the day, you want the game to be fun and interesting and captivating.
I think we need to like figure out like what is the minimum that people are willing to beta test. Not saying they have to like play 24/7. Because then we shouldn't be like speculating features that people want. We should be hearing from them. That's why the smaller the MVP, the better, because then you start getting feedback and building features that people actually want. That's why I don't want to make assumptions that people want dragons and elephants. Maybe they don't. We don't know that.
Well, if it's not dragons and elephants, they're gonna want like cannons or like catapults or something like that.
Maybe people don't like the fact that there's something OP. Maybe, maybe that's just the industry standard, but that actually makes you generic. We don't know that. So that's why I want to hold off on as much features as possible until we get users.
Okay, so then right now we have medics, mountain knights.
We got a question.
I'm
going to be building this from scratch. It's going to be a web app, so there will be no engine that behind it. I looked into engines, and it's probably the better way to go. But I feel like for the teaching aspect of it, I would have more freedom building it from scratch. Yeah, and also like the streaming of building it, I think I would be able to do a better job because I'm a web developer by job, so I just know it better rather than learning the gaming engine. I'd be like pretty mediocre at it. Cool. So what do you hold off on the special troops?
Yeah. So let's see.
Let's move that to, I guess, here.
Yeah. So right now we have engineers, archers, knights, mounted knights, medics, mages. Should we have mages be an upgrade from medic?
Is that aren't they very different?
No, I mean like a medic heals people, a mage just use magic to like do more things. You're kind of still studying like, I don't know, chemistry and herbs and I don't know.
Then what about this?
Magic.
They don't create mages anymore, do they?
Oh, I guess not. Okay.
So how does this work? Do you like send a medic in there and they come out as a mage? How does that work?
I don't know. Maybe we don't need it.
Maybe we don't. Oh, how about instead of create potions, it like unlocks different potions and you have to use resources to unlock it.
What do you mean?
So like let's say you want the power up but it's disabled and you have to like spend some kind of herb to unlock it for your mages. It's like a pretty common thing.
Okay, I mean, we could rename it to Apothecary then, because then that makes more sense.
Apothecary. All right, so I have no idea what that is.
It's literally just a store where you buy like herbs and stuff and like potions and medication and like things like that. I think they like it's still a thing.
Okay. Unlocks different potions. It's like an upgrade center, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the win-win condition?
The win condition is you have to take over majority of the map with your troops.
I think it's an annihilation. You have to destroy the opponent.
Okay, so like, what do you have to destroy though? Like their tower, their main headquarters?
Probably everything. Like all their structures.
I mean, you're kind of useless if you just have like an apothecary left. You know, that's.
But like maybe you have a lot of units, and maybe they're like trying to return back from wherever they are to make a comeback. So like that's why like having those structures still hanging around, even if it's kind of useless, gives you a chance. Because you can always rebuild.
So you have to kill off all their troops.
No, I don't think that's necessary.
Well, so like you have to be more specific in terms of annihilation.
Just destroying the structures should be enough.
So all of their structures.
Like, there's different types of strategy games where some are like capture the flag, where you're just like you have to hold on to a location for X amount of time, and there's like points involved. Another way to do it is the one I just said, destroy all the structures. Another option is you just destroy the headquarters for all the like different team members. We get to choose. I mean, like, what do you think makes the most sense?
I don't know. I mean, I think if you're like just left with an apothecary though, I don't see you being able to win this game, you know? Like there are certain things like because you can't make more troops, right? Because you don't have a headquarters anymore and you don't have a barracks. And if you just have like, you know, like 5 units, like 5 people left in your unit, you're not gonna.
Will you allow surrender as an option? Should we? I feel like, yeah, that's reasonable.
Surrender?
So, like, you give up? Well, I guess that's just leading the game, right?
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I feel like, why surrender? Why would you surrender?
Maybe it's an obvious defeat.
Maybe I'm like too competitive. I'm like, why would you surrender?
It's also like a respect thing. It's like, you know you're losing, don't waste people's time.
I don't know. For something educational and in the early stage, it might be a lot to some large enough player base to always have multiplayer. Yeah. I agree. I don't know.
I think so.
I think, I guess you would just invite your friends. I don't know. I feel like we talked about this before, but I don't remember what we said in terms of addressing that. I think it just has to do with like how we. Oh, okay. So we were talking about how we're marketing this game. We would be targeting places where there are like a lot of people who are already learning software engineering. So something like meetup groups, boot camps, things like that. So in terms of like you would be able to find like a group, I guess, that could play with you that has like, you know, enough of a skill set to be willing to play with you. Yeah, and then we would then, I guess, expand outward towards like more general public. But I think that would probably address that issue.
Yeah, I think in the beginning it's going to be very hard to get people to play. And I'm not expecting people to come. It's more like I'm just going to go like talk to small groups and hopefully build a following on the channel too to get people to come.
Yeah.
And eventually, as the game is more stable and there's enough features, I would spend money to market.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't think starting the marketing to like the general public is gonna work at all.
No.
Yeah, so yeah, that's how we would address that. Pushing meta onto the game. I don't know what that means. What's meta?
Yeah, could you explain that? I'm not very good with slang. You might be imposing meta onto a game you've not built.
I don't know. I don't know what that means.
Oh, I see.
Oh yeah. So that's what we were talking about. We would be working with the meetup groups that have. So there are like a couple of meetup groups in where like by where we live that focus on educating software engineers, and then also like your boot camp that you went to. Like you have a lot of connections there that we would be pretty much partnering with.
I see.
Not designed, but emerged based on player habit. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. I mean, we try to like, I guess, predict some of it, but then also just so that we know like what general features to have. But yeah, also keep in mind that, gotta let them figure out, like give them open options on how they would play. Yeah, that's something that we kind of like, I don't know, I guess when we were building Zombies, that's something that we had to like kind of keep track of. And we would end up finding out more about that through user testing.
Yeah,
which,
I maybe spent like a whole day on a feature that ended up getting scrapped.
Yeah. So, yeah, once we like can build out like the framework, we can do more testing, and then that's kind of how we figure out like what kind of situations tend to happen and like how to, I guess, build more features that cater to them. Yeah.
In that light, I feel like we should stop here for MVP. Anything more, I feel like is extra, and we're just making guesses. Maybe we already went too far. Maybe we need to scale down.
I don't think so, because I think this game is definitely a lot more complicated than Zombies. It's gonna just tend to have more moving parts.
Yeah.
For it to even be entertaining, because again, the problem that we're trying to solve is making learning how to code more accessible and entertaining for people who are not generally software engineers, like not already software engineers. So you do want to kind of make it still a little bit more, I don't know, fun and attention grabbing. Especially if like, the age group of people who are learning how to code now is getting younger and younger.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Features sound great. I'm just curious about central flow of the gameplay. This we have to talk about.
What?
So like the from the game beginning to the game end, like how is this gonna work?
Okay, I see what you mean. Well, I guess like what do you mean? Like in terms of like user flow, like what would most likely be the first couple things that you do, and then how it progresses, or?
I think so I'm picturing in the beginning you're gonna try to build structures,
right?
And, the way we're saying how that's gonna work is like imagine the browser is on the right is the map, and then on the left you have this code editor, which is I'm gonna try to emulate this as much as possible, and it'll be pre-written code. So like a barracks would have a certain piece of code, and that's gonna resemble something more like the backend with real code. So like you create a request that's like an endpoint that you can receive, and then after they built the structure, then they could place it on the map. From there on, it should be click only until they want to build the next structure. Then it'll be code again. And then if you want to do an upgrade, it'll also be code. Like, so for example, if you had a knight and you upgrade it to a mounted night, then it'll require a bit of coding, and that'll be front-end code as opposed to back-end code. So I'm trying to teach MongoDB for back-end, and that'll be for structures, and then on front-end, I'll try to teach React, and that'll be for the upgrades. And then it's also going to require some explanations. I'm thinking it'll be like if you hover over the code, it'll explain it. Maybe, I don't know, still thinking a bit about it. Yes. I'm thinking it should be able to, what do you call it? Slide in and out, and it'll just be automatic. Like if you're clicking upgrade, then it should slide out. Once you finish it, it should slide in.
Yeah.
I think that would be intuitive, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Like, Yeah, I think that makes sense. So like upgrading and building, and you said potions as well too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good place to start.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be pretty hard to code. I'm imagining it's gonna be months of work, and
Is building something like this difficult?
well, I'm just gonna make it visually look like this. It's not gonna actually be a code editor. That I don't imagine will be that hard. It's just gonna be CSS.
Okay. It's just giving them the simulation of working in a code editor.
Yeah.
Okay.
The actual game is going to be difficult because like moving the troop, having like having them engage, attacking at the correct range.
Well, okay. In terms of graphics, we're not like, we don't have, anybody who can make insane graphics. So it is going to be a very more like simplified looking game.
I'm thinking it'll look like Clash of Clans.
Yeah, something like that. Not like we're not going for like those like really, intense graphics, like realism type look. It's going to be definitely more cartoony, more like.
Yeah. We have a comment. Perhaps not having it visually look that way may be benefit, or at least could be something to consider.
Now look which way.
Like with the video, the code editor on the side. I was thinking about that too. The reason why I lean towards having it look this way is because ultimately the goal is for them to eventually download a code editor and write their own app. But that's like, it doesn't require them seeing it all the time to get used to it. So
but aren't you going to slide it in and out? Like just when you need it?
Yeah, but it does add a layer of like, what the fuck? Like for people who've never seen a code editor, they're just like, what is this?
Oh, well, I guess, but that's part of the learning process. Like there is a learning curve to it, and I don't know. As much as you want to make it super simple, you don't want to kind of gear too far away from what the experience of coding is, because you want to give them that experience. You want to kind of like be able to build the confidence of the person to be able to like know like, okay, I can read something like this. Like it's really not as hard as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I can.
Because I think like especially for like non-software engineers, like people just looking at code is like they're immediately intimidated because just the general structure of it looks different. So I think if we're like at the end of the day, the goal is still education. So I think having it look like a code editor still makes sense. Okay. But we can work around like in terms of placement and how it interacts with the actual map to make it just more user friendly.
So in terms of progressively learning, I'm thinking the code would get more complex as they level up. So like there should be a user profile where like you win a game, you get X level experience, you lose a game, you get less. But like gradually you're leveling up, which also indicates to me you've been typing more and more code. So like maybe like at level 5 you unlock a new feature that has more complex code to it. So like maybe in the beginning game you're not able to upgrade your knights, but maybe by level 5 you are, or maybe in the beginning game, or maybe like level 10 you could upgrade the mages. So then I'm thinking that would be a good way to do it, but there might be other ways.
So my question for that is, because it is kind of already difficult to get people to like have people to play with in this game. If like, is that going to make it hard for people who are just starting out with the game be able to play, because now they don't have access to certain things? And if you're like on level 2 and like all your friends are on level 5 or something, you're not able to like use certain tools.
I think it'll be okay, because then you'll be on, assuming you're on the same team, so then there'll be a total level, and then you would just be paired against a different team that's around the same total level.
Oh, so it's not, because okay, I was thinking each person, like how many people can play in a thing? I'm imagining like maybe 5. Okay, 4. Wait, 4 on 4? What do you mean? I was thinking like literally just like 5 people on a map.
No. It's like one side versus another. So then it should be even numbers at all times.
What do you mean one side versus another?
So like maybe me and you versus 2 other people. So it's like blue versus red, something like that.
So how are you both? Like how are you and I playing as one company?
You have 2 companies, but you're on the same side. Like you don't attack each other, you attack the other.
Oh, I see. Okay, so I was thinking it was just like each company for themselves.
Oh no. That's gonna be too messy.
Okay.
But we got.
But then, oh.
Starting out simple with a text entry. Yeah, I agree. In the beginning, it should just be simple. Get to the point. Get to the point of what they're trying to do, and there's less coding involved until they progress through the game, and then there will be more and more code involved. Like, yeah, that I agree. Because you're building something with an extrinsic purpose, I feel like a central design difficulty to be addressed is matching the scaling of gameplay with the scale of learning. Yeah, that is true.
What do you mean?
So like, as the game gets new features, the code also needs like to be more complex.
Mm-hmm.
Having those 2 go like at the same rate, that's gonna be hard.
It's a little, so here's my question. The code that you're giving them to write is like actual code of like creating that feature, right?
No, it's not creating a feature. It's how it would, like how would you actually do the thing? So like, let's say I upgrade a knight to a mounted knight. Then in React, you'd have to do this thing called set state, and you'll update its value to something else. It'll have like different HP, different movement speeds, stuff like that. So those are values that need to be updated in code, and I would like showcase that as the thing that they need to type.
So like, how would you have like, okay, so the problem here is potentially the code may not get harder for something that is more powerful.
Yeah, there is that at some point. But then I feel like when you get to that point, it means you're ready to go and use what you've learned to build something of your own, which is fine. I'm good with that. That means what I taught you.
So there's not that much that you can like, I guess, power up in, like upgrade it.
No, at some point it's just going to be like, you know how to do this set of code, and you're just doing muscle memory, which is also a good thing, because that's kind of what I want to instill into people.
So it's like really, really foundational.
Yeah. You also run the risk of your game eventually requiring far more APM than most players will have. This is particular case with complexity of mechanical interactions your features imply. Painful process of pruning your features early. Oh, so
I don't know what APM.
Oh yeah, what is APM? actions per minute, I think.
So like the people's computers can't handle it? Actions per minute, yeah. So
oh, the player can't handle it. There's too many things going on. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on.
yeah, I don't know. It's like honestly, we would have to like start small and test. Really, a lot of it is just testing and knowing like what can people handle, what can they not.
Yeah,
right?
Maybe we need to cut down for MVP.
Oh, like
Maybe
like
no
actual things.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Whoops.
I think what we need to do is we need to prioritize like what absolutely we need and what is maybe like part 2.
Yeah. I'm thinking mages should be later because like even as I was explaining it, I said like mages would be like level 10. So
right. Okay.
Yeah,
so
move that
mages
over.
are like. So these people they're leveling up not in the game but in
the
the
profile.
platform.
Yeah.
Right.
The
Okay.
platform.
Okay. Just making sure.
Knights, archers, medics. I feel like is pretty basic. Engineer, yeah.
Yeah.
That is pretty basic. Maybe we could get rid of defensive towers for now.
We need something that kind of like marks the territory that you've claimed.
That would just be your building structure.
Well, usually when you build structures, they're kind of centralized in kind of like your own area.
Oh, I don't think you would claim anywhere. It would just be you go collect resources and you set troops there. So like if you move your troops, then
That's
someone else could go take those resources.
okay. So I'm trying to like visualize the map, right? So like if you're starting on 2 sides of the map and then like the goal of the game is to like go and take over the other side, right? And just annihilate all their troops and their buildings, you need to pretty much have like points where you like you've got like I don't know, like some kind of structure
I think
to say like this is my territory. I've claimed this territory. That could be like a flag. That could be like a little base. That could be like. But do you know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So more like Risk, where you claim land.
I don't know. I haven't played
like
this in so long.
Or like Catan, you claim land.
Yeah, kind of like so like just so like you can visually like you can see your progress. You can see like also there's things for you to then knock down, like from the other side. Like for example, if let's just say we're using flags, right? We don't have to because that's kind of lame. But let's say you have to build a flag in like the territory to say this is now my territory. If the opponent wants to then take over that territory, they have to not only, well, they have to pretty much get rid of your flag and then put their own flag up.
But
to then claim it and say that this is their territory now. Because at the end of the day, the point of the game is you're invading, you're taking over the space, you're annihilating their troops, and then kind of claiming the land, right?
I suppose. Well, let's first answer this question. Is RTS the best format for design objectives? That I don't know for sure, but I like that you're able to like separate front end and back end by having troops and building structures for the back end and then the troops upgrading for the front end, because that kind of does reflect how it would be done in code. That's why I like this, but I could also see different types of game working for this, like something like Farmville, for example, would also work. But I also feel like
I don't remember how to play Farmville.
it's like
It was so long ago.
build things and you let it sit and it grows and you collect it. Something
That
like
is not as
Yeah,
exciting.
It doesn't sound as exciting. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
But there are definitely other stuff out there, and I'm open to like building those next. I think starting off with this would be exciting.
Yeah. I mean, this is. Yeah, I mean, you want to make something that you want to play, right?
Yeah, that's right. And it's-
At the end of the day, that's kind of what it is. Yeah, so. Right, I think we.
Yeah, tower defense and clash style games. Yeah.
So I was thinking that those towers would be kind of like what the flag is.
Oh.
Like you would have to build a tower in like the mapped out area that's then considered your territory. You know?
I was thinking the same thing. A tower defense game where it's like you don't have to move troops. Because then moving troops is really the most complicated part of what we're talking about.
What is a tower defense
It's like
game?
You build towers and there's like enemies that walk through like a certain path, but they don't attack your towers. Your towers attack the troops. But if the enemy makes it to like the end, like whatever the target, the goal is, then you lose. But that
I'm
would
confused.
all right. So like imagine it's basically like Clash of Clans. You build towers, but you don't need to build troops.
Oh, I see. And then it just runs it
Yeah.
and then sees. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, but I thought it might be too similar to Clash of Clans, and
Yeah.
that's kind of I guess people would just be like, "This is a knockoff."
Well, I mean, to be fair, I'm sure there are a lot of games that are similar to what we're
Yes, there
kind
are.
of trying to build too.
Yes, there are, but they're more niche, which is good because then it's not as much recognition. Like you could mention a tower defense game, and you immediately think of Clash of Clans. But if I mention a real-time strategy game, no one will. Not everyone will think about the same game.
I see. That's true.
It does make it a lot more complicated to make.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like
All right, so here's the thing.
we also like the challenge, which is
Yeah.
also the thing.
Some part of the game is the coding part. People think your game is a knockoff. That is true too. So I'm okay with like if I fail like a totally like it's a wreck of a game because I made it too complicated. I would fall back on a tower defense kind of
Yeah.
game. Like the code could still pretty much be reused, and that's why I think that would be a good plan B.
Yeah. And like as we do tests, like you'll see like what people prefer, especially if you're like testing with that group of like that type of people, you know, if you're testing with your core audience, then you'll know what kind of games that they prefer.
Cool. I think we're ready to move on to the next talking point.
I think we're just prioritizing now, right?
Yeah, prioritizing. And then lastly, we do UI. Maybe UI could be a different day.
Yeah, no. UX UI, that's something, yeah, that
Needs
would
more
be,
thought,
yeah.
So let's just prioritize. Where do we start? there's a hefty amount of work to be done here.
How much of framework do you need for UX, like wireframes and stuff, for you to start coding?
Not much.
Okay.
I just need a general idea because I know I'm gonna have a code editor on the left, and that's already gonna take me some time.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think so like, I'm assuming the code editor is like the first thing you're building.
Yeah, I think so too. Actually.
And then you could start with the map after,
Yeah.
or is the map? So the map, it's interactive. That's more with code than like graphics, right? I'm not
What do you mean?
like like we're talking about just the functions of the map, like not visually.
Oh yeah,
with the map.
it could look like crap but still work. Yeah, that's gonna happen first.
like I was like what I was imagining is like, oh, you said you wanted to do like checkerboard style, right?
Wait, here we go. Map design before UI design.
Industry rule of thumb. Okay,
Cool.
cool. Good to know.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean UI is like really last step, right? Like just like that kind of graphic stuff. I was thinking, so you were thinking that the map should be like almost like a checkerboard, like. I was thinking.
I don't think it'll be checkerboard. It'll just be grid.
Oh, okay, like grid. Okay.
Because then it's easier for me to like move units if it's grid.
Oh, okay. I see.
Because then there's an XY axis, and then I could just subtract and add
Oh, so like in the like when you're
in the code.
in
Yeah.
the code. Okay. So yeah, you would be working on like the functionality of the map, not
Yeah.
like what it looks like, right?
Yeah.
And so that's okay.
Grid system. I'm gonna need to like figure out how to move troops. That's probably the hardest thing.
Okay.
Figure out how to move one troop. We also need to create the code for creating a barracks.
Oh, I have a question.
Right.
Are the two teams, I guess, able to be doing things at the same time?
Yes, it's real time,
Oh, okay.
so you don't take turns.
Okay. And your servers and everything can handle
Yeah.
that? Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, you would just be building. You would just start with. Okay. So are you gonna go from like the building and then what the building can create and then what those troops can do, or are you gonna do buildings and then troops
I
and
think
then what?
it would be wiser to do building and then troop. So it's like I could find out immediately whether like is it really hard to move a troop? Because if it is, then I don't want to have wasted all that time creating all these different buildings and only to realize this is too complicated. I'm gonna fall back on
Okay, so you're doing, I guess, headquarters.
headquarters. I guess that should just start off with the game. You shouldn't need to make that. So that's just a visual thing.
No, but then headquarters creates engineers.
Oh yeah.
So-
create headquarters.
So when what you're doing is you're doing the building, the troop, the function of the troop,
Yeah.
right? That's how you're gonna start coding this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that should be there, and then that should be there. Let's do top down.
You mean like relationship between the play space and the screen real estate?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thinking.
Stuff like distance between players, spawn locations, number of features. I think it's just going to be a top-down view,
Yeah,
right?
top
Like
down.
it's not going to be like you're not going to be able to see it from like their POV. Number of features visible on the screen. Okay, so this is more like all like the UX stuff, like you're planning like where everything is. Yeah, so pretty much I'll be working on that as he is building out, I guess, the base of these features. Definitely 2D.
What is 2.5D?
I don't know. What is 2.5? I guess it's I don't know. We're like beginner game makers.
I'm not even gonna say beginner. I'm straight up. I'm a web developer trying to make a game.
Right. So like we don't know exactly what
Oh, okay. 2D with 3D style.
like panning.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, I like that better than just flat out 2D.
What is-
But then we don't know how to create 3D graphics.
Yeah, we don't.
No.
We're also not like graphics people.
Yeah, so it's gonna be 2D flat.
Right. Yeah.
And then you could always upgrade the images later on as you learn new skills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen it work.
graphics. Yeah. So far, in terms of building games, we've always just kind of done core features, the general like UX layout, and then UI graphics at the end. But we like to focus more on like functionality
Oh yeah.
and like features for like
Yeah.
because we need to like we like to like play the games.
Yeah. Make sure it's worthwhile.
Yeah, and then our last step is like make it look pretty.
Yeah. I demoed the last game I created. It was only like 2 months ago, and in the beginning it was just like black and white, and I had my friends play it, and
Yeah.
we still had a really good time because the functionality was there. It just looked really very dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you only just finished the graphics of that game like
Yeah.
last week, this week.
that's
So
right.
like putting all that back together.
But like getting the core functionality out was like maybe 2 weeks of work, and that was good enough
Yeah.
to entertain people.
Yeah. So that's usually our step-by-step process, I guess. That also means it gives me a lot more time because I don't know if he was here from the beginning, but like I'm not a software engineer. So like my skills are in like UX and graphic design. So I work on those things separately from him. Yeah.
Yeah, so we could talk about like the space between where they spawn and how big is this map? Like how long would it take for someone to travel from one corner to the other? I honestly don't know.
I don't have enough understanding of like
I think
this.
we need a place.
Because okay, here's the thing. Like the thing I keep imagining is like a chessboard.
Oh,
But
yeah,
that's
it's
like
not,
taking
though.
turns.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Maybe like all right, so the space heavily depends on how fast the unit moves also. So the space is really more like the visual point, but like as far as like interacting goes, controlling the speed I could easily change. So that's not a problem.
Okay.
Like if the map is too small, I could just adjust the speed, or also I could just increase the map size. So we have room to play and test around stuff. But I think maybe an early starting point, 100 by 100 per player. So like, if there's 4-on-4, that's 800 by 800 grid. If it's
I don't know.
1-on-1,
I need to
200 by
see this
200
visually
grid.
because you're just throwing numbers in my face. I'm like, what? Okay, I need to see that visually. Yeah.
I think we need to spend some time playing other strategy, like real-time strategy games, and see like what works, what doesn't.
Yeah. Hold on. I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab my sketchbook.
Okay. I guess I have this drawing tool I could use. No. Okay, so let's say zoom out a bit. I think it's in the drawer. I think it's in the drawer. Cool. Thank you so much for your tips and advice. I'm curious, what do you do? Is like game development in your wheelhouse? It seems like.
Okay. Let's see.
Oh wow, that's plenty more than us.
Yeah, of course. We're just noobs. I'm surprised that you even want to watch us doing this.
Well, we're so lucky to have you here with us. Then.
That's pretty cool. Where do you lecture? Like at a college, or do you have your own like courses?
Oh, cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, we just, I guess we're approaching it in a novel because like we don't know what we're doing. We're just approaching it the way we would, I guess, build any other website.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
treating it like building a web app as opposed to building a game.
And just kind of figuring out everything else along the way, I guess.
Yeah, I see that. I could imagine. So this tool, Draw.io, the way I'm envisioning it is going to look very similar to this, grids, and then you would traverse the map via XY axis.
Okay. Even though you use a grid, can it
It won't
look
have,
like a land?
Yeah, it won't have the lines.
mass? Okay. Oh, it won't.
No.
Interesting. Would
So
it
then
be-
you would click a point in the map, but like in the code, I would know what point that is. It'll be like X 20, Y 40, whatever.
I see. Okay. Oh. So like they could just walk each little, like, so is each movement a little square?
Yeah. So also allowing them to walk diagonally. It seems like a simple thing, but I'm gonna have to figure that out.
Okay. Seems like there's some math involved.
Yeah. there is.
Okay, cool.
So-
So you're just trying to decide like the size then?
Yeah, maybe like I'm thinking 100 per person, like square area. There's no units here. So
What do you mean per person? Oh, like per player?
yeah,
Oh.
so it scales to a reasonable amount.
Oh, so it just depends on how many people are playing. What if only 2 people are playing?
Then it'll be a small map, which is reasonable.
But isn't that kind of boring? Because that's a really small map then.
Or maybe we allow people to choose the map and we offer different maps. That's a
Like
common
how
theme.
big the maps are?
Yeah. But I also don't want to get into the issue of like now I'm focused on making maps.
Yeah, that's just a lot. I mean, what if you just did like a minimum for like, and then after a certain number of players, you can.
That would be really cool.
What?
Yeah. I would really appreciate that, and I'll work hard to make sure it's
that
a
would
good
be-
experience.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Oh yeah.
Unit size, unit building, unit collision. Yeah, that's a good order.
So let's see. Yeah, I think if you started with like a minimals, like let's say you have 2 players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your standard minimum size is like, I don't know. I cannot understand numbers according to
Maybe
scale.
200 by 200.
But that seems really small.
But it's 2 players.
But then you're still building a lot of troops. Like you're still capable of building a lot of.
We need to, let's say, let's imagine we have a game going on right now, and let's say
Is this 200 by 200?
Well, I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 4 to a box. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
You can't just
7, 8, 9,
change it.
10. I'm zooming in and out. I don't have full control.
Oh.
So that's 10, 4, that's 40.
Mm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that's 80. So this is about, it's close enough to 100. So 100 will look like this, 100 by 100.
Okay.
And if we're doubling it, then, let me zoom out twice. I think that'll do it. Oh,
You
that
could
didn't do
change.
anything.
Is that not the scale thingy? The 100%? Change
Okay.
200%?
That didn't really do anything.
What is this thing? Map draw.
No, that's a
don't?
name. It's for wireframing, but I'm just using it because it has grids.
What? Okay.
But like basically, what I'm saying is we need to figure out what, how big is a building, and let's say one troop is one of the small squares. Then does it visually make sense? So right now this is about 100, and if we double it, I can't double it. How do I double it?
You can't just go. You went down to 50%. You can't do it like 200%.
That's zooming in.
Oh, okay. So then go down to like 25%.
It just goes all the way out. It doesn't create more. So let's see. I think I can just create real squares. There's probably an option for that. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Oh.
So let's go extreme. Oh, 2020 is the most.
Oh.
Oh no.
Why are you using this if you don't know how to use it?
We'll figure it out. Okay, so that's 20.
You just built another one up on top of the grid.
I'm just gonna copy and paste it 5 times.
What? That's crazy. Okay. I mean, okay. We could just
And in particular, like,
imagine it, right? Like, let's say one of the little squares is a person,
okay.
and you want to build a barrack. The barrack could be like 5 by 5.
Oh goodness, what is happening?
It could be like one of those squares,
Oh,
like the big squares.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Reset your thing. Like you see, you know what I mean? Like, or maybe 5 by 5 is too big. No, yeah, like maybe like.
All right, this is not helping. Let me delete that. Okay, so.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think the size of like the buildings is that important. I mean, it's important, but like,
Because then.
like you just start with the size of a person, and then you just scale out from there. So like, if you've decided the person is one of those squares,
True.
then you just, let's say we want the barrack to be like this big. So that's
You're saying
4 of those.
Well, that's enormous.
Oh, is that? I don't know. Okay, so like, let's say it's 2.
All right.
Right? So then, like, if this is a barrack, then you're gonna know, like, well, how many can fit on a map, or like, what is each section of the territory? Maybe each section of the territory is that big, and you want a map that can fit like 50 of those. Then you know how big you want your map is.
Yeah. But going off of what you said about units kind of works too, because then let's say you want a maximum of 50 units per person, something like that. Then that tells you that takes up 100 squares in the total map if you hit your capacity on both sides. And then how much walking space do you want to allow is the remainder of whatever. Yeah. So let's say earlier I said 100 area per player. That would be 200 squares in total. If they both hit their maximum of 50-50, that leaves 100 squares that they could travel with / build buildings. Does that sound reasonable? It sounds too small, actually.
Yeah. Can we put like items on your little?
Yeah.
Can you just draw out shapes?
I can put
Here, just make a rectangle.
a rectangle.
Okay, so like, let's say your rectangle is.
Let's say this is all right. Yeah.
Okay, so like Okay, so what did I say earlier? Like 2 of these?
Yeah.
So let's say that's, wow, I can't get it to snap it to the grid.
It's fine.
All right, whatever. So like, let's say that's the barrack, right? How do I zoom out on your mouse? Whoa, okay.
Symmetry or asymmetry?
Like the shape of the map, you mean? I think it would be more fun if it was like more organic.
What do you mean
think
organic?
Like it's not just like a rectangle.
Oh.
Like the thing has shape.
Oh, like curves and stuff. Yeah, I
Like
mean,
it'll look like an organic piece of land.
and then so like for MVP, it will be a rectangle because it's easier to work with.
Okay.
But then I can always add to it, and that's where you get the curves and stuff, like as a stretch goal.
You can't just like cut out parts of it.
Well,
like you're laying a grid on top of.
Yeah, I'm saying anything is possible. It just takes time. For MVP, having it perfectly rectangular makes the XY easier. Oh, minimum viable product. So just like the very base features that I could put out there for people to start using it, testing, and give me feedback. So then I could then know what do people actually want.
Yeah. So like, let's say this is I do not know. How do I move this thing?
Zoom in and then click it.
Okay. Maybe we should have just used
Why
like
why
literally
having
anything
such
else?
a hard time?
I don't know. Okay, here we go. Oh my gosh. So, first playable. Oh, interesting.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're using like web app terms, product terms. Okay.
So that's what.
Yeah, so like let's say this is a barrack and
Okay.
you have a person that is like this. So how many of these do you want on a map for 2 players?
I think max 50.
50 barracks.
No, not barracks.
Oh.
Troops.
Okay. Wait.
But barracks, maybe
What
we
do you
should
mean?
have a limit on that. Should it be 1 at a time? Because then if you have 2 barracks, does that mean you could build at double the speed?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's a good thing though.
But then, I don't know. Maybe there could be a building limit in addition to the troop limit.
Sure.
Okay.
Wait. I guess.
StarCraft?
Wait, why is there a troop limit?
Otherwise, you just build unlimited troops and that's not cool.
But like your troops will die.
Yeah, but then like a active limit. So like if it dies, you subtract.
Oh,
you know?
okay. So just like you mean on the map.
Yeah.
Okay.
StarCraft import source material to reference. Oh yeah, that's like iconic. I used to play it when I was like 7.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
It's a game. It's like one of the most popular. Collision and map. Oh yeah, that's true. It takes up space. Building buildings takes up space.
So why shouldn't we have a build limit? I don't
So
quite get
like imagine, so like there will be resources, right? It's going to be scattered throughout the map. So like you won't be able to build your building on top of those resources. So therefore, by default, you're just limited to where you can build.
Oh, so you don't need to then put a limit on it. I see. Okay.
Oh, we need to talk about resources. We haven't. Resources is going to take up space too. We're talking about trees. There's going to be mines for like the iron. You wanted herbs. So like.
I just imagine like those are just part of the landscape and you can pick it up.
Yeah, but it means that people can't walk on it and people can't build on it.
You could walk on an herb. Why can't
Alright,
you
fine,
walk
can
on an
but
herb?
you shouldn't be able to walk on a tree. Like that, you have to go around or something.
Okay, fine.
So like depending on, also we talked about water, so that's going to be a river.
But isn't that this okay? Is that getting too much into
Yes, kind of is.
like? Doesn't that mean I need to know what it looks like before you build out the map?
It could also be randomized.
But what if it just makes the map look weird? Like there's just a clump of like trees in the corner of the map. That would be weird, right?
And I think it might
Wait,
make
are
sense.
we just having the same map every time?
So that's why I like randomizing it. So like you could have the same map, but then the stuff will just be spawned at different locations. And I'm thinking as like you collect a resource, like let's say a tree goes down, a new tree would spawn at a random spot in the map elsewhere.
Okay. Well, are we? Oh, is wood? Oh, because wood is one of the resources.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're doing. I'm like, why are we cutting down trees? Maybe instead of like it being trees, like I think trees is more like part of the landscape. So like if you want the resource of wood, it would just be like a branch or something.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think we should start off like that because it's easier to code, and then if we want to,
Because like
change it,
what I'm imagining is like so like this is the map. It could be a square instead of like a
yeah,
organic shape. But
okay.
like let's say there's a couple roads that go through, right? Like this.
Okay.
And then
we'll show the drawing after she finishes drawing.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait, we got a comment here.
Oh. Pick a number of resources, types you have because you
So like, what are our resources?
Oh, our resources? I don't know. Where do we put them? It was just like
It's on the project board. Resource: wood, iron, different herbs. That was for potions. We don't need herbs anymore.
Wait, why not?
Because that was for potions. Where potions is a stretch goal.
But we need that for medics.
Medics should just be able to heal. They don't need to pick up herbs. Later.
Do we really need like food and water?
Maybe not.
I feel like that's a little too nitty gritty.
It is. Let's remove that. For potions.
I'm like, I think it can just be like implied that they have food and water and can survive as a troop.
Okay. I agree.
So we really just have like
Iron. Well, let's not use iron. I think stone, rocks. Rocks.
No, wait, you need metal for like weapons. What are you using rocks for weapons? Are you like cavemen?
Yeah,
No.
it could be.
So like like steel.
Steel is not natural. Iron is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Well, fine. I don't know.
So just 2 resources. That simplifies.
That makes it really easy. Okay, so like what I was saying is like let's say there's like roads, right? The things that are always permanent to the map, I imagine, is like should I show it?
No wait. Then we got a comment.
Does technology progress over again?
Technology. At this point, like everything is very minimal, so there's no progression. But maybe like future units would require more like complicated resources. So like for example, the mages, we decided that's going to be a to-do, and then we're going to introduce herbs as a future resource.
Right, for them to use.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean that answers the question, right? Mm-hmm. So what I was saying is like there would be like the landscape itself doesn't change, But then, like, let's say, your resources, like where they show up, that's what you randomize.
Yeah.
And then, like, but like the general path and like the landscape of everything. Like the trees, they're just part of the landscape. Okay. If you want, like, to pick up wood, that's like its own little, like I guess, element,
Oh, so the trees are not the resource.
Right. Like that's just part of the landscape. It'd be really, I think, complicated if you had, like, because I'm imagining they're like going through the forest. It'd be complicated if like every single tree you have in that forest is like somehow manipulated. Like you can manipulate.
I think it's doable though.
But then oh no, alarm.
Well, I guess what you're saying would be easier to pull off. And if I want to make it more complicated in the future, I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay. So like, yeah, but then, so like the trees and the roads and everything, that's just like really part of like the graphics later on. You just need to know the structure of where they can move, right? Yeah, okay. What else?
So look, randomizing could set a uncertain level of unfairness. Like, what if by randomization somehow all the resources ended up closer to one side of the map?
I mean, that's there. It's kind of like how Catan, like, sometimes all the resources are just on one side of the map. Where you start, like, do you get to choose where you start on the map or no?
It should be a fixed start.
So then
pseudo random. What is pseudo random? We're saying they will start off persistent for now, and then as the game grows, if we want to, then we could change that to be replenishable. But also, I could like just split the map up in half and then split up the resources in half and then randomize for two different locations. So then it's balanced, but still random.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what I said.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Oh, wait, or maybe not.
Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah, that would work. Yeah, okay. What else do we need to talk about?
I should probably write that down though.
Yes. So
to do
resource pseudo random
resources. This can come down here. Yeah. No, actually, before we do buildings, yeah, okay, go there. So, are we good with 100 by 100 per player?
I feel like it needs to be bigger.
How about 200 per player?
So, let's wait. Okay, so let's go back to what I was saying, that there should be a minimum size for the map, and then after you've reached past a certain number of players, it then starts scaling to the number of players.
Yeah.
So like, a 2-player game isn't like a crammed tiny little map.
Oh, okay.
Or what you can do is you can set maybe 2 or 3 sizes, like maps like ABC, and then each map has a min and max number of players per map. So like, let's say A is the smallest map, and you can have anywhere from 2 to 5 players for that map, right? It's catered for that number of players. And then like map B is catered for maybe like like 4 to 8 players or something like that.
Yeah, I've seen that model before, and it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to be like novel there.
Yeah.
It works. Let's just do that.
Okay.
Different.
And this way you don't have to like have like, I don't know, trying to figure out all the scales and stuff too.
Number of players.
We should also think about like, what is the reasonable max number of players?
I think 4 on 4 should be the max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because or else it would get a little crazy, right?
Yeah. Let's go last because I'm gonna start off with 1-on-1.
I don't know. I still kind of think that it should be like everybody for themselves.
It's gonna be very hectic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But isn't it just as hectic when it's like 2 teams, but there's like 4 person per team, and then they're each coding and building things?
But then you don't need to worry about like someone doing a coup d'etat. It's just like, all right, I know Lat's the opponent, and this is my teammate. As opposed to like, I gotta be wary of everyone.
But that's what's fun, isn't it? That's like part of the strategy and the politics.
Like a stretch goal, and then it would just be like, I enable 8-way play, like battling, but like a free for all, almost like a royal, something royale.
Okay. Wait, why is it just harder to code that way?
Yes, and also that's true. I'm thinking 1-on-1 in the beginning too.
Adjusting values after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the different size maps, I moved to the bottom because it's just like I'm not worried about that for now. It's easiest to implement. Free fall is the easiest to implement, so it works as a stretch. Yeah. Okay. What do we want to? What else needs to be done?
I don't know. We did priorities, and then I think that's it.
I mean, in terms of the priorities, what needs to be done? We need the troops to interact. Troops interaction.
What do you mean,
like when they go to battle each other?
Oh my God, this is so complicated. How would you even begin? I don't even know.
Troops, buildings. Maybe I'll just make that 2 separate tickets. I don't need to say figure out. I know I need to figure it out. Let's see where. Let's say move a troop. Yeah, so that's a good spot.
I think that's everything, right? I don't know.
Upgrading a troop. Maybe.
Wait, we don't have upgrades anymore.
We do.
What do we still have to upgrade?
This.
Oh, mountain. Nice.
Maybe that's a stretch goal. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like a 0.5. No, that's later.
I moved it to the wrong place. Okay. Yeah. So we got engineer, archer, knight, medics. Defensive towers is kind of like capturing the location.
Yes, and it can also attack.
Yeah, it can also attack. Maybe.
Is that complicating things?
Possibly.
How do you attack a tower? You can't just like shoot arrows at it.
Why not?
In real life?
I mean,
you shoot arrows from a tower. You don't really shoot arrows at a tower. Usually,
it doesn't have to be realistic.
Yeah, but I mean, you want in storytelling, you want it to kind of be kind of realistic.
mean,
it has to
in-
make sense
In
for
Clash
them
of
to.
Clans, archers shoot the towers and the towers explode.
Really? I thought
Like
don't
a
you
crumble.
need like catapults or something?
No, they have archers in the beginning. Well, like the very beginning, it's archers and a guy with a sword. It's fine. People will be okay with it.
Okay. I don't know.
It's just about the HP. That's really all it is. The attack damage and the HP bar.
Okay. Oh, is that something you need to figure out?
That's just gonna be a part of when I create the troops.
Okay.
Oh, that's something we should talk about though.
Oh.
Like, what is the strength between these? Like, how many hits does it take to take down one of these?
Oh wow. Okay.
Maybe that will be part of the next discussion since we're doing UI UX in the next.
But that well,
This is more
that's
like
pretty.
general planning.
I guess that is that. I feel like that's pretty core to the functions of the game.
Okay.
I don't know, but we
But
can also
also-
just do a part 2 of this.
Yeah, but also I want to like play some games and like collect ideas like what works, what doesn't.
Okay.
Like maybe you don't
Oh
want
my
to
God,
spend
you're
like
gonna end
5
up-
minutes
I
attacking.
feel like
a
you're
tower.
just gonna end up obsessed with the games again. Oh no.
So then I'll just have like a dedicated 1 hour study session.
Mhm. Okay. Fair. And then we come back and discuss. We can then talk more about. I'll come back with some ideas of like general layout of the game. What functions, like what buttons and features
Okay.
in that sense. So let me just write that down for myself. What you need like a build button, a what unit?
So like you could click the building. The building would have like troops that you could click to build the troop.
So build troops and build building.
The engineer has an option to build buildings. And then there needs to be a countdown for each unit, each troop being built or being trained.
For troops being built? Troops and buildings, right?
For the buildings, it's going to be via the code, so it's not a
So it's
time
auto.
countdown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For just troops being built. Oh, and then also the code editor, map, profile. What do you need in the profile? Username.
Oh, yeah.
I guess like an image, possibly. Image.
Oh, yeah. That's a good idea. Watching people play games instead of playing the game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
I-
be on Twitch.
Yeah.
That's literally why we're on Twitch. Oh, are you watching from Twitch or YouTube? Twitch.
Okay.
Okay. Oh. I didn't think people would actually
Yeah.
find us on Twitch. Okay. That's cool. Username, image. What else do you need in profile? Like your
Profile.
level?
Oh, I wouldn't even worry about profile for now. We're just not going to keep track of their level. Like that could be a stretch goal.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But then, like, what if, like,
And the people who beta test will probably be my coworkers, so they know how to code. So like it's not a problem.
you should have, like maybe Nicole's bootcamp friends.
But they also know this stuff,
Yeah, but they're more
I
beginners.
suppose.
I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be too easy for your coworkers.
Well, for them, it's less about like learning; it's more about the gameplay.
I guess, but it's okay. I don't know.
And then it's also about like from their point of view, does this make sense as a teaching medium? Because that's important too.
But I mean, shouldn't you be testing with like your actual target audience?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think you should be testing with people who like we're not targeting them.
Yeah, but it's a matter of like being able to get people. I don't know if I'm able to get people who don't know how to code to use this.
Well, we know quite a few people who are trying to learn. So like Brian Wilson.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They're all like, I think we could kind of get a nice group of people who are like in that stage.
Okay.
Because I feel like it's kind of pointless to test with your coworkers.
Okay.
Like it's too easy, and
Right.
we're not gonna be able to find like what would actually be an issue for them.
That's true. What they can help with is the lesson itself. So like maybe I'm teaching, like I'm writing it in a way that might be hard for other people to understand. They might be able to help me reword things.
Yeah, because I wouldn't be able to help you with that this time around because I don't actually know how to code. Let's see. So profile is
That's so nice of you. Thank you so much.
Aw,
Yeah, we clearly are just starting out.
that's so nice. Thank you. Hopefully we'll see you in more of our live streams. We'll try to be more consistent in being live. Let's see. Yeah, we stream like on the weekends.
Yeah, Saturday, and then sometimes after work.
Sometimes after work, yeah. Did you create a set schedule?
Right now, I'm only saying Saturday. Like I can only commit for sure to Saturday.
Okay. Anything else?
I always wonder what these teachers do in their free time.
That's
So
funny.
you're just like everyone else.
Good to. Teachers are human too.
Yeah.
That always makes like it's so funny like being an adult now, like you know how like Justin was a teacher.
Oh yeah.
He was
that's
like
right.
teaching high schoolers or something, and I'm just like, why? What? You're a teacher? But like,
But
you
I've
know,
seen you wasted.
right? It's just like, well, and then you think about all your past high school teachers,
yeah.
and it's just like,
And they're all like early 20s too. Well, mine were.
yeah. And now I'm thinking like, oh, my past college professors, like,
Well, I don't imagine college professors going out getting wasted.
Oh,
Really?
I could imagine some of my past college professors. I mean, like, I don't know. Just like, yeah. They're people. Count.
Dude. Do they? They do.
That's so funny.
Oh wow, I did not imagine.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Let's see. What else? What else do I need to? I have the build, building troops, countdown, code editor, the map.
That's professional.
Ah, yes.
Yes, that's the difference between the professors and the students.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like that time when you like got wasted at that company happy hour thing,
Oh my
and then you
God,
guys
yeah.
all showed up after like
That was
completely dead.
That was incredible. I don't know how I made that commute. Like I had a bottle of sparkling water in my hand on the train where I'm drinking, and as I was arriving at the office, like, why do I have a bottle of sparkling water? And then, yeah, and I got in early too. It was like 9. I think I was like 15 minutes early.
Yeah.
I was like, on a sober day, I'm not even early.
So you gotta try extra hard when you know you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
All right. I think we are done, right?
I think so.
Yeah, for tonight. Yeah, well, I don't know.
Yeah, it's time to grab dinner, and thank you for being here, tagging along, and
Yeah.
giving us advice. It's been amazing. Thank
Yeah,
you
it's
so
a lot
much.
of fun. It was nice meeting you on the internet. Oh, like I mean, you can let us know like what your students' Twitches are, and we will follow them too. I don't know how Twitch works. You can follow
you
people on
follow
Twitch,
them.
right? Yeah. I'm such a noob. I watch people on YouTube. I'm not that big of a Twitch person, but yeah, yeah, we'll be back next Saturday.
No, just let them be.
Yeah, next Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah. So hopefully we'll see you then next Saturday. That's funny.
That's a
All
good
right.
lesson.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Well,
Cool.
thank you everyone for watching,
Yeah.
and we'll see you guys next time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, awesome.
Have a good night.